So there you are, guys. We are gonna start things off with the initial bout between Nux and Flo is the Key versus Mr. Lasty and Team Subi. This is gonna be Team Swabee versus Team No Name. Gonna be a PNZ mirror matchup between our two teams. SCPH dual meet, if you guys remember already. It is a 4K Presto prize pool with 70K Razor Silvers up for grabs as well. 3K for our champion plus 40K Razor Silvers, 1,000 pesos for our runner-up with 20K Razor Silvers alongside that. And of course, for our third placer, it is going to be the 10K Razor Silvers there. And don't forget, we also have an amazing giveaway there from Pure PCPH and DLS Mizzle that will be showing off the next part of the code later on at near the end of the broadcast. So you already know that if you are looking to win that headset plus that extra cash back from BDO or whatever you choose, it's an extra 1K under your belts, and we're just so happy that you guys have been very, very supportive so far. But this is the SCPH dual meet, and when you look at the SCPH dual meet, you just remember 2v2 action. It just becomes so messy from time to time, but it's all about coordination with your teammate. And now, as we are going to be getting into our first game, let's get our first map pick in order. Rhoskallian LE. Gonna be a place to be for map number 1. We've seen this map quite a lot already, but we are gonna be getting it again. Pretty standard map pool here for a 2v2. It barely changes except like one map per season compared to the 1v1 where half of the map pool really changes. It really just allows these players to just get comfortable with what they've been seeing so far, and it's up to us get into the game. But on Rhoskallian, it's all about defending those ramps. It's all about making sure that you have a good node in the forward parts and just be able to defend as much as possible there. Nux and Flo is the Key versus Mr. Lassie and Subi. We are going to be getting into the game right here, right now, and let's get started with the SCPH Dual Meets round number 2. Now, case in point though, guys, the second round of the SCPH Dual Meet is just the second round. We still have the semifinals, and of course, we'll have that live grand finals at the end of the month. But in any case, now it's time for us to get started with the game, and let's move on into Rhoskallian LE. So hello guys, and welcome to the SCPH Dual Meets round number 2. This time, it's gonna be a PNZ versus a PNZ. And of course, a best of 3 as per usual in our set. Introducing first though, on the top part of Rhoskallian LE, this is gonna be Team Noname comprising of the red Zerg, that is Nux. And the purple Protoss, that is Flo is the Key. So Nux and Floki at it again, manhandling the round number 1 matchup and looking to do the same thing here in round number 2. Many have put them as one of the best teams, if not the best team in the bracket right now, rivaled only by the defending champions, which will feature later on. But for now, having at least, at minimum, the second best player in the Philippine scene alongside a rising star that is Floki, well, you already know that is a recipe of success. Nux has been such a good game changer into a tournament like this and has really put everyone on their toes. This time, though, he is going to be going for the hat-trick first in his opening. But their opponents on the south side looking to get some love from the community yet again. It's going to be Team MrSuabee comprising of the blue Zerg, that is Mr. Lasty, and the green Zerg, that is Subi. So Mr. Block gonna be here for our green Protoss, and Mr. Lasty gonna be alongside him. MrSuabee, already a great name in its own rights, as we are gonna be getting into the game to start things off. Expansion though from Mr. Lassie already. Spawning pool gonna be being built as well. And the PZ matchup really just means it's all about Lings and Stalkers. Gonna be a good component of success. It really just goes to show it's like you're playing against your opponent. It's like you're playing against your mirror matchup. And the Zerg can focus on fighting the Zerg. The Protoss can focus on fighting the Protoss. And they can just help each other along the way. It's really interesting that that's what really it boils down to. It reminisces us of a PvP matchup. It reminisces us of a ZVZ matchup. And we wouldn't want it any other way. In any case, though, Nux already setting things up and go for as many links as possible. Queens being built as well. Floki, though, in the meantime, porting parts of the wall there onto the ramp itself. It just wants to put a halfway marker in the first place. SCPH, though, stealing some minerals, gonna get scouted out, and Nux already on the hunt. This is Nux showing us that he is just always in position and always on the hunt. Does get killed onto the probe there, and here comes the initial flood of links. Seems like, though, for MrSuabee, he's gonna have a good answer with that with his own links, but Nux already hopping on the round and going for a third. Quick expansions here from Nux. He's really just trying to get as much economy as he can so far. And as we are going to be getting into the initial bout here, and now we guys are going to have 3 matches for today. We got some great games here in round number 2, and I can't wait to showcase them to you. Semifinals going to be starting off after this one, so you already know that the best 4 teams remaining in the tournament are going to be looking to do battle. But still, we're in round number 2. We got 8 teams vying for that position, and the question is, who will make it to the next round? Seems like, though, for Floki, it's gonna be that glaive opening here, courtesy of our Purple Protoss. He's also gonna go for the Robo Facility right now. And this can allow him to go for the Warp Prism if ever to reinforce in that same vein. MrSuabee, though, still moving on the round, going for another expansion, but he's the one taking the more aggressive one. He's the one going all the way to the left side of the map, allowing SCPH to play safe if ever he wants to get his own third. Adepts, though, being brought on in. Seems like for SCPH has the same idea. Still, though, it's going to be charge lots instead here for our green Protoss. Maybe going to be getting into the Zealot Archon action later on. But case in point, it's going to be more and more of these gateways right now from Floki. Really confirming he wants to go for the glaives here and now. Adepts and Mass going to be doing a lot of critical damage if unstopped. But for now, MrSuabee going to be going for more tech options. Bayless. Roach Warren going to be there as well. Still with Nux. Gonna be moving on the round again. Still setting up on the hatchery so far. Links, though, here for MrSuabee, getting into some good numbers for the time being. A little bit of a skirmish, though, as Nux has to back on the wave. Roach right now gonna pop on out. Here we go. Floki bringing in his Adepts, and Nux reinforcing these Adepts with Roaches in. So the Zergling still gonna be out in front. Here we go. The groupings here and there, and SCPH gonna be waiting it out. Immortal for him, playing a bit more defensive right now. We just want to be able to hold the line against what Nux and Floki have in store. Anyway, though, as we are at it again, a few pokes in the prods here and there. Gonna be lowering the volume of the game just a little bit. And in any case, we're still gonna be getting Nux right now, trying to get up the ramp and more. Spinecrawler's a little too late for MrSuabee already. The Red Zerg knocking on his doorstep. And this is going to be Floki looking to reinforce as well. In terms of numbers, though, Nux going to have it. He has a really big army right now, trying to get in position. MrSuabee focusing on the economy, and he's going to be losing this out. There we go with the Warp Prism, bringing in the Adepts. And this might be the coup de grace Floki is already looking for. We have the Psionic Transfer, trying to get in behind. The Immortals, though, being protected, but the Roach is still bringing on the damage here and there. SCPH, though, going to be warping into some Zealots trying to defend. But this is looking too overwhelming. And so many numbers right now from Team Noname at so little time for MrSuabee and SCPH to actually react. Floki right now keeping it on. More and more of these Adepts coming are through. Nux in the meantime already going by the ramp and looking to take control of this whole part of the plateau. And he's into position to the Blue Zerg as of yet. Floki, though, right now dueling with the Protoss, and there you go. Zerg dealing with Zerg. Protoss dealing with Protoss. And Floki trying to get into that natural. Gonna be bringing in the transfer there again. Nux, though, in the meantime, still hunting for a few more of those army units. And now the workers are next to suffer under this distress. Floki, though, again with Psionic Transfer trying to get in behind Immortals right now, trying to get away, but no one will fall. There we go with the Swarm. There we go, the Surround. And there is no escape whatsoever. This is gonna be a battery overcharge, trying to deal with all of the damage there. But there is just too much to handle. And Floki gonna be able to get the timing push alongside Nuts. This is just teamwork making the dream work again happening here for the side of Team Noname. And they are just proving how synchronized they are. Well, what can we say? Game number 1 goes in favor of Team Noname. Another great push. Another solid coordination, and with that being said, that's all they needed to take that win. Absolutely well played there by Nux, and Flow is the key. They timed it right. They went with the Adepts, so they went with the Glaives, and as soon as that was ready, they were good to go to get into the action. MrSuabee and SCPH, in the meantime, they had an idea of what was to come. They had a game plan. And in all honesty, they were looking to try and protect one another. We already saw our Zerg from Mr. Lasty actually taking the one further off to allow SCPH to actually get his expansion. Some really good showings here from Mr. Lasty and SCPH in 1v1 tournaments, especially in the quarantine setup. But for now, they are having to deal with the might of Nux, and flow is the key. In any case, though, we are going to be getting into our second map in just a bit. And we're going to be getting confirmation that the second map here is Arctic Dream LE. Now, think about this map. It's quite big. There's a bunch of zones to actually inhibit air units. So you are going to be having to deal with the front line there. And then there is also a back expansion just in case. So you can expand safely in behind of your main. And it is going to be more or less protected by the other team with just a few reinforcements from the air. In any case, though, this is going to be enough for Nux and Flow is the key to move on to the semi-finals first and foremost. Or will SCPH and Mr. Lasty force out a game number 3? Team Noname up by 1, but let's get into the game to find out if they can be the ones to win this out. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are again. Dual Meet number 2, still going on and still continuing. As we said before, this is going to go all the way to the end of November, where the grand final is going to be live and going to be played between the best 2 duos. In any case, though, it's time for us to introduce our teams here on the top part of Arctic Dream LE. It is Team Noname, represented again by the Red Zerg, that is Nux. And the Orange Protoss, that is Flow, is the key. Their opponents, though, on the south side, gonna be Team MrSuabee with Mr. Lasty on the Blue Zerg. And SCPH on the Green Protoss. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Arctic Dream LE. Fun fact, this was the newest map when Dual Meet 1 came out, so it really has a bit of history in the PH scene. Just having at least a look into the ladder pool of 2v2 is like, oh, there's a map like that, and oh, this is the new one? Okay, let's try to learn it, and our players have done a great job at getting it on anyway. But Nux right now getting it on with business immediately afoot. He's going for the aggressive expansion into the front lines rather than the one in behind. SCPH trying to find out if what's the play here for Nux. Is he actually gonna go for more of that expansion? Basically gonna go for a 3-hatch setup. He doesn't actually get a scout though. He already went past the mineral line there before the drone became a hatchery. So for now, he will have to check out what Flow is the key up to instead. Anyway, though, on a map where you're not connected directly, you can actually play your 1v1 setups for our Protoss and Zergs respectively. Flow is the key. Gonna be looking to make a bit of a funnel here just in case. In the meantime, here for Nux, open ground, put the spawning pool though nearby just to protect from the flanks and just to protect from the run-bys if ever. In the meantime, though, for Mr. Lasty, he's going to be going for that safer expansion in behind. Really goes to show how economically focused MrSuabee is as a team. SCPH, in the meantime, already setting up that 2-gate 1 core. And exactly what I'm saying, you know, PvP. We're seeing PvP right now from the Zergs. We're seeing ZVZ right now from the Zergs. And it's really good to see. It's just really, really telling of what experience they had. The Protoss versus Protoss action, the Zerg versus Zerg action coming together as one. Warp Gate, though, being researched right now by Flow is the key. It seems like for SCPH, he's going to be going for units first. Double Stalker opening, courtesy of our Green Protoss. Pinging on around, trying to decide where to even go. Mr. Lasty, though, is going to be checking out if there is any kind of proxies, if ever. A big map like this really just proves that there is a lot of corners to check, and that's exactly what SCPH and Mr. Lasty are trying to do right now. Team Noname, though, it's all about them keeping the tempo, getting control. And don't forget, guys, we'll be giving out the code for the giveaway later on near the end of the broadcast. But for now, Floki, at least trying to get that Warp Gate research as of yet. He's going for the safe expansion as well to go for a 2-base setup on a Protoss. 3 bases, though, for Nux to keep on ahead and get as much economy as he would like. Now, it's up to him to see what kind of creep set he would actually go for here. A Tumor in the front line, looking to connect everything and anything. And that's the beauty of going for the expansion and the outer more base instead. Because when you actually go here to the forward expansion, you can set up your creep tumors, you can set up your creep spread in a way that actually goes against your opponents. In the meantime, when you go for your own creep spread in the main base and you look for the passive one instead, then all the creeps that you're doing will be to connect these 2 bases and stay on the high ground. Really goes to show that Nux wants to play speed, but right now the inhibition zone is gonna be slowing those Zerglings down. But here they come. A flood is afoot, and the diagonal gonna get covered by the slow zone. It's gonna be allowing SCPH and MrSuabee a bit of time to actually react. But MrSuabee gonna get caught on out. That's Queen already surrounded, hiding beside the Mineral Field as well as the Vespene Geyser. But it doesn't matter because there's just way too many Zerglings to deal with in the first place. With the ping though, and MrSuabee also spotting out those stalkers there. He's gonna get supply block right now, so SCPH has to go over to the high ground instead. Sentry though to protect himself, but the problem with a map like this, it is gonna be the Bailey getting smashed, and MrSuabee will bail himself out in a case like that. Absolutely well played there, but MrSuabee just goading Nux in and getting that takedown. Flow is the key, having the recall, and I was just about to say if that was not gonna be a defense from MrSuabee whatsoever, this would have been game for the Blue Zerg immediately. So initial rush here from Floki, and Nux gonna get stopped. Huge Bane hits to really keep them alive. And MrSuabee, he needed that one to keep on with the fights, and he will do so. Arctic Tree Melody right now, giving you a lot of time to react. And MrSuabee getting the Baneling Nest just in time for that situation. He's going for the melee +1 to as well. But as of yet, it's time for the Stalkers to deal with a few of those links here and now. Warpers immediately here from Floki, going for a quick robo facility as well. And it is going to be to 2 base 4 gate setup. 1 robo along the way. All about Stalkers right now because he's really committing into it. It's time though for SCPH to go for his as well. Blink Stalker is going to be the name of the game for our Green Protoss. And as of yet, he's the only one with the Twilight Council upgrade so far. Floki right now gonna get his Forge first and foremost there onto the north side of his main base. Twilight Council on the second already. And Floki right now looking to just regroup with Nux. After that Baneling Nest hit, that was just absolutely huge there from MrSuabee. He kept himself alive, he kept him into this game, and honestly, MrSuabee has been one of the faster climbing players in the community. A bailout like that, really proving what he has learned so far from the great members in the community, coaching on around, hanging out in the Discord. But right now, SCPH is going to be hanging around that base as well. Still though, Nux trying to scout. But so far, we have seen Nux and Floki just overrun the opposition with 1 quick strike. This time though, SCPH and MrSuabee able to hold in different ways. Passive play there from SCPH, and then MrSuabee with a bailout. But here we go now, with MrSuabee actually getting in the face of Flow is the key. And now Floki unable to really deal with this. 24 workers right now, only for the Orange Protoss. And this could be such a death sentence here for Floki so far. Nux right now trying to help on out, and the roaches are going to be there. And that is just going to be MrSuabee getting the right opening at the right time. Sad to say for Floki, he just didn't have anything prepared for it. Didn't have a wall, didn't have anything in the way in the first place, and the workers will suffer because of that. Both bases absolutely crippled, and SCPH on the offensive as well. This is the first time we've ever seen Team Noname actually gonna be on the back foot, and it's up to Nux and Floki to hold the line with all their units. Blink out though for SCPH. He's already marching on forward toward Nux's position, and the question is can he get the shutdown? Gonna be able to go for some round potentially on the roach, and wants to go for a takedown there and then start step action, but there's the blink on out, and MrSuabee reinforcing so far. So job done here for MrSuabee. They were able to get the cripple onto 1 player of Team Noname. Gonna make their lives so much easier in a case like this. But MrSuabee does not want to relent. These Lings are already on the hunt yet again, trying to make it through to the other side. The Roaches are gonna cut this out, and Nux immediately seeing the other color that he doesn't like, and will be in position to protect his base. Quick reactions though from Nux, really proving how great of a player he is. But for now, it's all about the reinforcements there. But it's a bait and switch. Pincer attack can be turned into a 2-prong attack as MrSuabee moving over to the west side instead. Gets spotted though, a few pings here and there, and Nux right now are trying to do the same. He's on the hunt to get some DPS into the other side, and here we go right now with the Roaches trying to catch out the stocks there, and then Floki though marching on forward. SCPH can always evacuate with the blinks, and that's what he's gonna do so far. But here comes Nux. He's able to get on through. Force field not gonna be effective there, but here comes a wall of adepts instead. Nux right now gonna give it blockaded by SCPH. And great positioning with the buildings. Good warp cycles to keep it on. And this is just gonna be another defense here for MrSuabee, but it ain't done yet. The armies of Nux and Floki knocking on the doorstep. Floki also given this time to try and regroup, try to actually get those workers back. Even though he's going to have the least impact in this game right now, Nux is really carrying his team and more in terms of weight. 63 workers and 132 army. MrSuabee barely lagging behind with 65 workers though and 116. So it's all up to Nux to make this strike count. as they are waiting on the low ground though. For now, it's gonna be our Blues are keeping it on with the Ling Flood. But Nux right now, heavy army, heavy hitters. And these roaches just sticking around, being such a big, bulky force. Now then though, those run-bys have to be something Floki has to watch out for. And does he actually do anything about it in terms of base formation? He keeps the sentry, he keeps 2 of them onto the high ground there, but he still has to be careful. As SCPH right now, Blink still available, gonna be moving on around the map yet again to try and go for the pokes to the front. Floki though already getting Blink along the way, and it seems like we're gonna be getting Mutas here from MrSuabee as the bats are already in position, all up to the stalkers right now to try and get the DPS. Nux in the meantime on the right side, looking to hold, and Mr. Lasty, man, he's just adjusted accordingly. The links were essential to actually get the damage on. And right now, the best thing for Floki to do is to help out Nux because of their air units. While the Mutas don't do too much against the Roaches, it's still going to be annoying because they can't really get the damage at all. They only shoot ground units. So it's up to the Stalkers right now to get Mike correctly and deal with the Flyers here and now. But there we go with the Blinks yet again. SCPH right now trying to hold, but his Stalker, of course, has been more or less wiped out. Still, the Mutas up in the air here from MrSuabee, and now Floki dealing with this one. And there you go. Too many losses here from MrSuabee, and they will have to back on the way. But MrSuabee, his whole mutable, gonna get caught out. Only 3 survivors there. And what a hold from Nux and Floki. The transition, though, into the Mutas, the right call at the right time. But unfortunately, Nux and Floki able to work together there to save each other's backs. Nux focusing heavily on the Stalkers, didn't even care anymore about what was happening with the Mutas. And then as soon as that happened, we got Floki reinforcing, brought his own Stalkers along to go for the duels. Overlords being a pest as well up in the air. And right now, the Blinks are going to be moving on forward. Nux also transitioning to the Hydras right now to answer back. He's trying to get that X range. He's already on +2 on to the Rage Evo Chamber upgrade. He's really keeping it up with the DPS. On the other side, though, it's melee +2 right now for Mr. Lasty. And the problem for him is these Zerglings are going to struggle against the Roaches and the Hydras if ever we see the armored units out in front. And there you have it, formation in key. That's going to be the Stalkers going for the fight yet again. Spinecrawler trying to go for the poke, but the Hydras are really going for the focus down. And these are the Zealots falling on over. Mr. Lasty, though, with Mutas onto the other side. They're trying to count an angle. They're trying to find a catch, but this is way too much anti-air for them to go onto the inside. And the Banelings right now trying to bail it out. They're rolling on it to try and catch out the Hydras, but the Roaches are there yet again. There comes the split though, and a few Hydras will go down. And this is going to be SCPH right now looking to push, but Mr. Lasty cannot help the same way that he was before. This is Nuxo trying to hold yet again. SCPH though with some more reinforcements, and both sides with a back and forth, defending, attacking, keeping the armies alive. Still though, case in point here, Nux keeping it on. He's on 5 bases along the way. Low-key, gonna be keeping up with 3 there, but in the meantime, Mr. Lasty with 4, SCPH with 3, and right now it might be 2 because his Nexus point is quite low already. Floki though gonna be blinking on to the right side. Here comes the Banelings yet again, trying to make it through the Hydras, but the Roaches are still there. They are just in position every single time. Unarmored units are just such a great way to answer back against the Banes. 1 Nexus point gonna go down. SCPH getting crippled on the army count, and most of his supply right now just gonna be basically be probes, and that's it. So Mr. Lasty has to hold on his own. And speaking of that, it's the same case for him. Barely any army right now. Nux still keeping it up. 120 army supply for the guy. And that is gonna be another base going down. MrSuabee, they put up a great fight. They bailed themselves out. They even crippled the economy on the Orange Protoss. But against the might of Nux, it's just not gonna happen. SCPH calls GG. And there you go. Nux and Floki will move on to the semifinals. Team Noname is our first semifinalist from round number 2. What a game that was, though. From Mr. Lasty bailing the team out to going over, harassing the mineral line of the Protoss, and then going for the meta transition. Everything was looking so good for MrSuabee there. SCPH also helping on that, getting Blink Stalker, having a bit more of control, and they effectively took down one of their opponents. But no, Nux just overwhelming there. The skill level on this guy looking unparalleled so far. And with a setup like that, with a transition like that, with that kind of macro, he was just able to outmaneuver, outgun everyone else. Floki given the opportunity to try and reinforce, and not the best fight though. from MrSuabee. Mr. Lasty and Subi sticking around way too long on Nox's second base. And that was just such a big situation to turn the tide into a more secure one. Could have been a longer back and forth if we only saw Mr. Lasty and Subi back off a bit earlier there. They really just held the line. They didn't even bother to go for the micro. They were so confident with the meet the ball to actually work out. But the Stalkers were the key, and Nox even went for the Hydra transition. Overall, though, great game yet again. And I gotta give props to MrSuabee as a team and Mr. Lasty as well. That Zerg, that blue Zerg, really proving so much improvement. And he's really climbing the charts, isn't he? Well played there to Mr. Lassie, though, and Subi. Great try from them, but Nox and Floki, they move on, and they will take this set. Really great games, though, so far. And let's just get final confirmation of this best of 3. Rhoskallian, Arctic Dream, both going in favor of Team Noname, and they will take the win. So, guys, we'll be right back for our next batch of the SCPH Duel Meets number 2, round 2 broadcast. Don't go away. We'll be back in just a bit.